Testing.
Okay, you've fallen into P18. You're P18.
We will be underway very, very shortly. Good morning, good afternoon, and or good evening to wherever you are watching this from. Welcome back to season number 22, WOR, World Online Racing. We have been blessed tonight, of course, with a breathtaking start under the glimmering light of Las Vegas in America. Tonight, 20 drivers will take their gamble on glory. But in this game, of course, we know there can only be one winner. It's going to be a short qualifying. Unfortunately, you are going to have to deal with only one commentator today. Co-commentator alongside me could not make it. So that is a shame, but I'm sure he will be back very, very shortly indeed. All right aboard with Red Bull of F1 Camo at the moment. We have Las Vegas, round number 1. Brilliant track. Short qualifying, and then we will be going into a 50% race. So short qualifying is around 17 minutes, give or take, depending when people complete their lap. And going to be a total race length of approximately 155 kilometers or 96 miles at the 50% race. 17 corners, 2 DRS zones, of course. And it is a very, very interesting track. A track that I like myself very, very much so. Heading into here, into turn number 12 on the Red Bull. This is coming into Las Vegas Boulevard. This is the straight that Samo's on now. Of course, DRS is open. A very, very long straight, may I say, into turn number 14. Speed trap at the end of this straight, in sector number 3. If you are expecting PC Tier 1, you are watching the wrong live stream. But we're right aboard with the Red Bull at the moment, coming round turn number 17. Across the line, it's going to be the first driver to be starting his lap into turn number 1. Very nicely done there, gear 3 and 4 and 5 coming round turn 3 and 4. Quite tricky. You want to be gentle on the throttle there, coming on the exit of turn 4. And here we are, DRS straight down into turn number 5. It's actually called Koval Lane, that straight there. We're now heading into the sphere section, of course, the very famous sphere here in Las Vegas. Purple sector 1, of course, the first driver to be technical lap. A little bit, trying to be losing the rear end there, coming out of turn number 6 and 7, but he's done that chicane very nicely. He did clip the wall there on the exit of turn number 9, but now coming into turn number 10, we're currently in sector 2 towards turn number 11. He does have a Mercedes in front of him. Hopefully that Mercedes does pull out of the way, and he does pull out of the way just in time for the Las Vegas Boulevard to strip the long back stretch back down towards turn 14. It seems to be a solid lap so far for the Red Bull. Not many of these drivers are driving returning from Tier 3, whether they move down or opted, I'm not too sure, but heavy braking down into gear 3, into turn number 14, 15 and 15, very tricky chicane section there. He did clip the wall on the left-hand side. It's going to be a yellow flag further down the field. Just to pick down, but he's going to be coming across the line. The Seaway is going to put his bank lap. It's going to be a 138.90. There is going to be an Alpine coming across the final corner. Both Alpines, matter of fact, 139 and a 113.13 for F1AF. They're a couple more drives. There is a Ferrari, a GT10 Guyton coming into the final chicane. Not too much on standings, of course, it is round number 1, and there isn't going to be too much in the standings to talk about, but I can take you through the standings of the previous season. And JT10 does come around the final corner and to place his car in P3. If you are joining us and you're expecting your PP tier number 1, you are looking at the wrong live stream, my friend. Mr. B puts his kick cover at a 130.6. So I'm going to have a look at season 21. Control tier 4 and see, have a look and see that actually a lot of these drivers in here did get promoted into F3. So kick cover teammates didn't do so well. Melvin Everman with a 133 might potentially get into the 129. A lot of drivers on good laps at the moment. We've got the Mercedes of the Bard Tsunami at the moment, who has invalidated his lap on the final chicane. Not going to be too happy with himself there. Red Bull not going as quick. The Hack has invalidated also. They're trying to catch a driver on a lap, but 11 drivers have done their lap so far. I'd like to assume that this kick tabber will be on a lap now. We have got a purple middle sector, nearly 2 tenths up on the best lap time at the moment, so it's going to be a really quick lap here. You don't have the Ferrari or the tow in front of him. The Ferrari has now moved out of the way. Yellow flag for drivers, you just move out of the way. Fluorescent comes into turn number 14. B-trap there, just on the edge, just before turn number 14. He's done the chicane very, very beautifully. One kick tower, currently qualified in P3 provisionally. Yellow flag in all sections. He's going to come around the final corner. Where he's going to play his kick tower. He is going to be next to his teammate on the second row. P3 and P4 for the kick towers at the moment. 130.84 Floristian. Now that is a very, very nice time for himself. I think this Red Bull is about to start his lap. So he's actually going to be coming in. He's going to be coming in. I know this Mercedes will be on a lap. Let's see how he does in sector 2. He does come round turn number 12 very, very nicely. It is a purple sector 2. He is doing very, very quick. Of course, track evolution around Las Vegas is very, very high. At night time in Las Vegas, normally 4 o'clock in the morning, we watch it here in the UK, which will be coming up very shortly actually. 2 weeks time, Las Vegas Grand Prix will be underway. He's actually cut the final corner and it's going to be him potentially bailing out his lap, or he's about to start another lap. I'm not too sure what his hat has also bailed out his lap. A lot of drivers are going to be coming into the pit, but as I was saying, this track, this race does take place at night. So the air temperature, the track temperature is very, very cold and very low. So you can see the track evolution is going to be playing a crucial part here in Las Vegas. We're right on board with the V-carb at the moment. 10 minutes 30 left of the session. The V-carb again, kind of a bit squirrely coming out of turn number 1 and turn number 2. Now coming around turn 3 and 4. DRS straight. The first DRS activated for the lap, heading down into turn number 5. It's coming towards the end of sector 1. Let's see how we done in sector 1. It is a purple sector 1. 26.3. So very nice. There's a big lock up there, heading into the fifth section, turn number 7. But he's managed to recover himself very, very nicely. But that's not going to help him front left, front right actually, or whatsoever. He's heading down towards turns number 10 and 11 and 12. Turn 12 I find very, very tricky. I never seem to always master it. And the V-carb seems to really, really be struggling here with locking up. You can see it's another purple sector 2. There's going to be a very, very good lap here for the V-carb at the moment. Hugging the wall on the inside very, very tightly. You're going to see a lot of drivers do that to try and get around the track. They can try and avoid people there in the car in front of him. And he had moved out of the way very nicely. Gone very deep into turn 14, and you have bailed out of that despite having two purple sections. That is a shame, of course, right on board with the hack. His teammate, he's hit the wall on the exit of turn number 5. You can see the track evolution cars are very now getting in purple sections, and the lap times are now coming in very hot and quick. 8 minutes 48 left of the session. Running on board with a hack at the moment. I know I'm very conscious. A lot of other drivers are on a lap also. F1 Camo, Alpine, GT10 and the Ferrari. So another lockup. Seeing a lot of drivers struggle heading into turn 12. And it's going to be a very difficult track, of course, to overtake. A purple sector 2 here for the hack driver of AERT, Ricky. I'm just going to call him Ricky in all fairness. But 8 minutes 19 left of the session. Purple sector 2. He's very light lap time. Everybody locking up into turn number 12. Let's see how he does heading into the final chicane. He's done much better than the last guy we were watching. He's done it very nicely, hugging the inside ball there at turn number 16. It's going to be a very nice lap here for the hack driver coming around the final corner. Let's see where he's going to put this hack. It's not going to be a 129. It's actually going to be a 130.8. Just into the 130. I know Samu is now on a lap there, and the Mercedes in front of him is about to start his lap. Done the chicane very nicely indeed, may I say, and not too short on his lap time, but he's currently got a 130.8. I'm sure he's going to want to improve on that lap time. Yellow flag in the final sector. It is going to be an improvement. It's only onto the second row. 130.6. So very nice lap time for him. Alpine had to back up his lap. He hadn't validated those lap times. A lot of driving trying to catch a driver on a lap at the moment. A lot of driving trying to catch somebody on a lap. Yellow flags all over the place. People trying to get gap. I'm sure there's just about 5 minutes left of the session. Riding forward hard at the moment. I know the other VCARB is on his lap at the moment. He's currently on a 130.6. I will ride forward with him. He's just coming out of turn number 4. DRS, of course, wide open. This man will probably have a good chance getting into the 129 for sure. He will be pushing. 6 minutes 50 left of the session. Let's see how he does in sector 1. It is a powerful sector 1. Not much of an improvement. 6,000 of a time improvement. Done the chicane of the sphere, MSG sphere, absolutely beautifully. And F95 going sector 130.2. And we're seeing the lap time coming in now. And the VCARB does have a car in front of him, potentially giving him tow. That is the Ferrari, who is also on a lap. And the Aston Martin of MV Inden comes into P4. Purple, yeah, we got sector 2. It's not improving. He is down on the time by 2/10, and I wouldn't be surprised if he goes back out of the time. We're headed to the Ferrari. He does have a hack in front of him, giving him a tiny bit of tow toward turn number 14. We're going to see how he does. The car on the inside, I'm sure that definitely did put him off, but that's a shame. Just a reminder, if you are here for the Ferrari coming into speech, if you are here for PT tier number 1, you're in the wrong place. PT tier number 1 is over on the other live stream. I don't know if that's still going on, but if I'm the only stream going, then I'm the only stream going. Let's have a look at the chat saying nobody's talking in the chat at the moment, so that's fine. That's fine by me. So the McLaren S95 going, currently on provisional forward. Brilliant lap there, 130.299. This VCARB, I'm sure, is going to be pushing very hard for another lap. A lot of drivers are going to be pushing for these lap times. The lap times are quite close, matter of fact. Only 7/10 gap from P1 all the way down to P13. So, matter of fact, 8/10 if you want to push it all the way down to P16 from P1. So that's a very marginal gap. We're riding board with Justin, a man all the way from Costa Rica, riding here today. So I'm sure it's very early in the morning at the moment, or very late at night, one or the other. Back down this lap, 3 seconds down, understandable. I'm actually quite interested to see what time it is in Costa Rica at the moment. I'm going to have a little Google, of course. Costa Rica time right now is middle of the afternoon, actually, 2:20 p.m. So maybe a day off for the Costa Rican, but you're going to have to push quite hard all the way down to P17. It's not looking too good for him. I know there's a kick cover about to start or finish his lap. No, he's not. Trying to catch a driver on a lap. I think this Aston Martin is on a lap. But that's not going to help him whatsoever. It's come very squirrely out of the final chicane, and he has had to back out of that lap. Couple more drivers. I'm trying to catch that Williams, which I'm sure will also be coming into the pit. He will be coming into the pit with an invalidated lap. So everybody is in the pit at the moment. This man will be one of the first drivers to be setting his final qualifying lap. 3 minutes 15 left of the session if you're only just joining us. This is going to be a short qualifying session followed by a 50% race. Short qualifying consists of around 17 to 18 minutes, followed by a 50% race, which is about 45 minutes to an hour. So be it. There are no safety cars. Don't want to put the commentator's curse on, but there may be, especially around the street circuit of Las Vegas. Brilliant track, a brilliant night race, may I say. And there is the Hard Rock thing in the background. So the V-Carb, he's going to have a lot of drivers, a lot of traffic in front of him, and he's got a lot of work to do, and he is actually going to be coming into fifth. Now it's going to be his qualifying over, and they can get round in time. But that is going to be his qualifying over. There is going to be, I think that's from Williams or Alpine. Alpine. Riding for the Alpine, who, once again, is going to have a lot of difficulty with a lot of traffic. He's all the way down in P18, riding board with the Alpine. A lot of drivers in front of him that are going to have to move out of the way. 2 minutes left of qualifying. Here we go. Round turn number 3 and turn number 4. Alpine doing very, very nicely there through the first couple of corners. Of course, Girac now wide open. He's got a car in front of him. He's got loads and loads of cars in front of him. Heavy braking down into gear 3. Slightly missing the apex there. Let's see how it does in sector 1. It is an improvement on his time. The green sector 1. Got a purple sector 1 extra. And Williams in front of him. Slightly holding him up there into the sphere of turn number 7. But moved out of the way eventually. 1 minute 32 left in the session. Pushing hard. Next driver to start their lap is Mr. Bean, currently B3. Pushing only 2 tenths behind P1 for riding aboard the Alpine. Let's see how he does in sector 2. He improved in sector 1. He's going to have to improve in sector 2. Did nearly 3 tenths. A lot of cars in front of him now that are going to have to move out of the way. He did not move out of the way. He's really pushing. And I'm sure this will hopefully get him into the top 10. And he's really, really deploying his battery. You want to deploy all your battery down the Las Vegas boulevard, down this back straight, heavy braking, down to gear 3, into turn 14, 15, 16. He's actually done that very, very nicely. As he's coming round the final couple of corners. Now the final corner, and let's see if he can improve on his lap time. Will it be into the top 10? It will be into the top 10. P9 for the Alpine, but there's a lot of drivers yet to do their laps, and here's one of them who's absolutely flying at the moment. Did a very good a banker lap, and he's sure he's going to be doing a very good improvement on his lap here also. Head into the apex of turn number 4 or 5, and he's done that very, very nicely. Not up on his time, and I'm sure he's going to want to improve on his time. He's doing the sphere very, very nicely. You can see the F1 eSport lines that they are taking. It's a completely different line to, well, what regulars would normally take. Very little time left of qualifying. A lot of yellow flags. I'll try to move it out of the way. Qualifying is now over. Mr. Bean has now set the fastest lap of the session with a 1:30.033. He's absolutely flying. Acting fluorescent purple middle sector. A lot of drivers getting much, much quicker. Trying to see if any of these drivers know right aboard this kick tower. He's doing very quick in the middle sector. We'll flick back over to the McLaren and the V-Car and see how they do in the middle sector. He's coming around the final chicane into the final corner. There's a Ferrari spun around, coming out of the exit of turn number 15 at Kiel. This kicked Albert does, hopefully into the top 10. Much better lap time than the Alpine that we've watched it in. Going to be onto the second row, but we're going to switch over to the Ferrari, actually we'll switch over to the V-Car, which doesn't look like he's improving on his lap time. He's slightly clipping the wall, but I'm sure he's going to be pushing. Would it be him taking on to provisional pole? He's looking very quick. Okay, coming over the line, it's so close for the V-Car. What a marginal gap for the V-Car. That's a brilliant lap time also. Right on board with the McLaren, who's also clipped the wall on the exit of turn number 16. Will this make it onto provisional pole? It's going to be very close as well. Into the 129 for the McLaren. 129.998. And that is the only driver, I think, going to be breaking into the 129. And onto pole position. F95 Dome in the McLaren, taking pole position and the only driver to break into the 129. That's a brilliant lap and a brilliant qualifying. Look how close that gap is between the top three. 500 between the top three. That's an incredible gap. Florican in P4, two Italian, P5 and P6, Damo P7, Indian P8, Robin P9, and Tsunami in P10, Justin P11. And the gap from P1 to P19 is just over 1 second. Ferrari's not doing well in qualifying, neither did the Alpine or the Mercedes, but this is going to be a very good, and Kit Sauber looking brilliant. This is going to be a race and a half. You're here for Tier 3. Good, I'm glad to see. So, if you're only just joining us and you're here joining us for the race, we are here in Las Vegas. F95 Dome takes pole position. It's the only driver to break into the 129. 129.998. Brilliant lap time for the McLaren. Kit Sauber joining him on the second row, Mr. Bean, 2024, with a 130.033. And the driver behind him, the Swedish man, Melvin, with a 130.050. Joining him on the second row is going to be Florent in the Kit Sauber. Kit Sauber looking very, very quick in qualifying. Let's see if they can portray that into the race. There is going to be a slight delay to allow drivers to optimise their strategy, their tyres, fuel. It's going to be interesting to see, of course, what's going to concur in this race. Going to be a 50% race if you are joining us. If you're only just joining us, of course, Las Vegas, a 50% race. It's a total of approximately 155 miles or kilometres or 96 miles. 17 total corners, 2 DRS zones. The DRS detection zone from DRS 1. It's just after turn number 2. So you take the hairpin of turn number 1 and 2, DRS detection point. And the second detection zone is just coming out of turn number 13 into the Las Vegas Boulevard, the strip, some may call it the backstretch. And that is where that very long straight. And if you don't have DRS or no ERS, you're very vulnerable down that back straight. So we're going to be going on 29. So I'm sure drivers have now readied up. It's going to be a countdown of 30 seconds, and we'll be heading into the race. We have been blessed tonight with a breathtaking start under the glimmering lights of Las Vegas. Tonight, 20 drivers are going to take a look to gamble on their glory. But, of course, in Formula One, there can only be one winner. Las Vegas. Comstol, tier number 3, round number 1, Las Vegas. Here we are, to the light. There's going to be 5 red lights. Williams on pole, Kit Sauber in P2. Let's see how we're going to get away. Williams got a very good start. Going to the Kit Sauber. They're not going to be going side by side into turn number 1. Kit Sauber getting attacked by the V-Car into turn 1. Everyone seems to be okay so far. The McLaren is trying to keep his lead. Further down the field, a lot of position. These two drivers going car by car through turn number 4 and turn number 5. Kicked out, V-Carb losing down to P3, having a look down the inside here of turn number 5. He's not going to have a look, kick cover down the inside of the McLaren. He's taking a lead of race. Kind of bit of contact between the two of them, but the McLaren losing a lot of speed. And McLaren is not going to be too happy with the contact with the kick cover, but the kick cover is into the lead of the race, going car by side. Aston Martin doing very well. Dalvio trying to make his way through the field, further down the field. These two going car by side here through turn number 9, heading into turn number 10. They're still going car by side. He's going to be very close between the Red Bull and the Ferrari. They're still going car by side, heading into turn number 12. And the Ferrari does manage to just get ahead. A lot of drivers lock up here, and they're going to be spinning around, spin around. Is the McLaren adjusting? And that is him dropping down to the back of the field. The front wing seems to be okay. And here it is, the back stretch, where everyone is going to have the pace. Is anyone going to be close enough for a move? Red Bull all over the back of the car at the moment. Tiny bit of contact between the two. Will he make a move here? Going to make a move here. Going down the inside of turn number 14. He's got the move done. Very nicely done. And overtaken up into P16. Further up the field, the kick counter is pulling away with a 137.7. Let's have a look at the tyre strategy. Telemetry, we will not enable. Let's have a look at the tyre. Everybody opting for the medium compound tyre. Nobody opting for anybody else. Liger improving for position at the moment. So doing very, very well in this race at the moment. Tiny bit of contact between the Aston Martin and Florian at the moment. Florian braking very, very early into turn number 5. Trying to keep an eye on, trying to be fighting. And the two teammates, I don't think there's any team ordered between these two Aston Martins, but Robin looking much, much quicker than his teammate at the moment. Further down the field and trying to have a look at people potentially close enough to one another. DRS, of course, is now wide enabled, and the V-Carb is now all over the back of the McLaren. McLaren, big lock up into turn number 12, going to leave him very, very vulnerable here. V-Carb going round the outside, trying to make the room for himself, and him up into P2. There's going to be a drag race all the way down the Boulevard Strip, and Mr. Bean's going to be very vulnerable here with no DRS. They're going side by side. It might be 3 wide going into turn number 14. I'm sure the V-Carb's going to want to try and make the move. McLaren's not going to let him. And McLaren, they're still going side by side here through turn number 14. V-Carb still on the outside. Very, very ballsy. McLaren having to back out of that one. Dalvio spun around at turn number 14. I thought he went for the move on another driver. That hit him, dropping down a P to the back of the grid, and I'm not sure if it's going to be front wing damage. But Melvin now picked up the fastest lap of the session, further down the field, and Alpine making moves, trying to be the contact between those two drivers. Pat trying to make a move round the outside. The Alpine train at the moment with the Hack and Mercedes, big train behind him, wanting to get past these two drivers going side by side. The V-Carb and the Alpine still going side by side. The V-Carb's not going to have the pace. The Alpine is, and the Mercedes does block him. Heading into turn number 15, there's going to be a lot of overtaking in this race. A lot of GRS trains from McLaren going deep in front of him, cutting the corner. That is going to be him picking up a 3-second time penalty, and that's not going to do him any favours. 3 laps into a 25-lap race, 50% race, of course, 22 laps remaining to go. V-Carb is now all over the back of his kick tower. He's dropping the McLaren behind him at the moment. He's going to have to DRS down this back stretch. DRS detection only just about here, coming round this turn number 13. As he's going to have the DRS here, and the kick tower can do absolutely nothing here apart from waving goodbye. And the other kick tower, one's losing the lead, the other one's coming to shake him down, heading into turn number 14. He's made the move into turn number 14, and the kick tower 2 and 3, and the McLaren of F95 is not doing too well at all. Further down the field, a half slightly squirrely coming out of turn number 14, but all over the back of the Mercedes here. Will he make a move here? Going into turn number 17. They're going to be going side by side, 4 wide into the final corner contact, and that's the half of Murto spun around, and that's very unfortunate. The full wide is never going to work into the final corner. That's him dropping down, and I'm sure that's going to be front wing damage for the Haas driver, and that is very, very unfortunate for him. Further up the field, let's have a look at some drivers potentially making overtaking opportunity. Mercedes all over the back of this V-Carb at the moment. Big train here from the Alpine going backward. Further up the field, the Alpine here. Anything race slightly losing the rear end there. Heading into the MXG fear of turn number 7, but he managed to keep the car facing in the right direction. Florican now catching up to his teammate. Still has half of his battery left. There is a yellow flag further down the field. Now it's Ricky now, both active. Not doing very, very well in this race, may I say. Lap 4 of 25, both P18 and P19. Not doing too well. Going to head back to the front. And Mr. Bean going to try and regain the lead of the race. He will be, for sure. He is deploying his battery here. Matter of fact as well. Will his teammate be close enough? Teammate will not be close enough whatsoever. And Red Bull here. Red Bull trying to get past both Aston Martins at the moment. Further down the field, the Ferrari 3 wide in the end, going car by side, trying to not get track limited, still going car by side here with this Red Bull. He's been fighting this Red Bull ever since the race began. He's still trying to get past his Red Bull. He will eventually get past his Red Bull. Mercedes having a look going around the outside of turn number 1. Will he make a move here? He's not going to make a move here into turn number 1. But he did have a look. V-Carb going very, very deep. Still going car by side, but maybe a switchback. Mercedes trying to sling one round the outside, but not going to work. There's a change for the lead of the race. Seems to be okay between those two. Trying to keep an eye on so much fighting going on in this race. Every driver on the medium compounder drive. A lot of drivers, you can see a lot of drivers have lost a lot of positions. But the driver that has improved the most is Tsunami. A lot of drivers are increasing by 5 positions, but 4 laps now on the medium, technically 5 laps, heading to the front of the field. Another lock-up into turn number 12. A lot of drivers do seem to be struggling heading into turn number 12. We'll have a look at the Aston Martin. Going to want to be getting past this Mercedes and chase down the McLaren in front of him. If the Mercedes ain't going to do it, I'll do it. That's what he's saying right now. Chasing them down, 1.1 second gap to close down. We'll have a look further down the field. V-Carb gets ahead, and Red Bull also having a look down here, down the inside of Mercedes. Trying a bit of contact between the two, and very optimistic. As the Ferrari now finally gets past him, up into P13, his GT10 Gaetan. And we're going to see a lot of drivers now peeling into the pit on lap number 6. And drivers are now coming into the pit, and they're actually both Alpine, double stacking. I don't think there's been any team orders between the pair of them. Double stacking onto the harder compounder tyre. Both pitching onto the harder compounder tyre. Both of them in the pit, but Melvin in the V-Carb, currently P1. Kick-Sauber V2. Kick-Sauber doing very, very well in this race, that's for sure. DRX train all the way down to P7, so it's going to be very, very interesting. Can we talk about Ligot cooking down in P9, doing very, very well indeed, improving 7 positions in this race, doing very well. He's got a big, big DRX train behind him, that's for sure. He's going to be very, very vulnerable here, heading into turn number 14, as we maybe see a change for the lead of the race. Will the Kick-Sauber be close enough? He is going to be close enough. There's a yellow flag further down the field. That's the Ferrari spun around, and that's the Kick-Sauber regaining the lead of the race. Lap number 6, of course, these two drivers are going to be switching all the time. With Lagos now drops down to P10. Very vulnerable here with no ERS. The Red Bull trying to go side by side with the Williams, but eventually backing out of that move. Lagos now down into P10 at the moment, lap 7. Heading into lap... No, we're on lap 7. We are on lap 7. Having a look at some drivers very, very close to one another. One Alpine lost over 11 seconds double stacking there. He's not going to be too happy with that one whatsoever. Still, DRS train down to P6 now. The Aston Martin of India. Losing time. After V-Carb looks very, very eager to get past and kicked out. I'm looking like he's wanting to get past him as quick as he can. And now Vebin Rush picks up a 3-second time penalty. The third driver to pick up a penalty here in Las Vegas. It's very, very easy, may I say, to pick up a time penalty here in Las Vegas. Of course, crossing the white line 3 times does give you a 3-second time penalty, of course. I'm sure we're going to be seeing the V-Carb regain the lead of the race here, further down the field, trying to have a look at anybody close enough. Lego, not with the DRS, he's actually looking very, very slow here. Williams looking much, much quicker than the V-Carb in front of him, all over the back of him at the moment. Slightly losing the rear end there of turns number 14 and 15, but still all over the back of him. The Ferrari of the Red Bull going side by side through the final corner. They're still going to cover side into turn number 1. But the Red Bull is going to have the pace, tiny bit of contact between the two drivers. I think the Ferrari might be okay, but that is the Ferrari and the Red Bull fighting. The McLaren is there, loved in the background. Justin did spin around at lap 1. Clawed his way back to P14, so he's making his way back through the field. Lego in P10, still trailing behind that Mercedes. Now the V-Carb and the Kick Sauber, Mr. Bean, has pulled away from P3. Florison's not going to be too happy with that. He's got the McLaren behind him, all over the back of him. He's going to have DRS, going to be very, very vulnerable here. Actually, Aston Martin might have a look here down the inside as the McLaren locked up, goes wide off the track, and it's not going to be a good race for that McLaren, dropping down to P7, maybe down to P8, and Robin now up into P4. A change for the lead of the race, of course. Robin now in P4 is looking at the podium, potentially for him. Further down the field, he's dropped down to P7. He's not going to be too happy with that. Does he have any front wing damage? We will have a look. He seems to be okay. Managed to avoid the wall. Drivers having a look, trying to overtake each other down this Las Vegas Boulevard, down the back stretch. We'll have a look. And Robin does decide to come into the pit. I'm sure there's going to be the harder compound tyre coming onto this car, and it is going to be the harder compound tyre coming into the pit. We're going to see a lot of drivers now peeling into the pit. Mr. Inden behind the McLaren now, P5, Aston Martin doing very, very well at the moment. McLaren has caught back up to Inden and Tsunami, losing the rear end there, slightly off turn number 5. We're currently on lap number 25 of the Las Vegas Grand Prix. We've been absolutely gifted by WOR, may I say. Brilliant calendar, brilliant work, putting everything together. So great, a big thank to WOR, and of course for the management and work that goes on in the background. Wow, the McLaren really struggling on this track. You can see his exit on turn number 12, too aggressive on the throttle, and he came in the wall once again and dropping all the way down, 2 seconds down from P5. Drivers Lagos up into P7 now. Still going side by side. These two drivers here, Williams and the Red Bull. Nearly a tiny bit of contact between the two. The Williams looking very, very slow now, as the McLaren is going to be closing him down. Williams might have some damage here, and a lot of drivers are now going to be peeling into the pit. McLaren might have a look here. Justin down the inside here of the Red Bull. He is going to have a little look, a little dummy. The Red Bull does have a lock-up. Justin looking very quick here now, all over the back of the Red Bull. Look how close he is to the back of that Red Bull. And Justin doing very, very well to claw back from P19. When you have a look here down the inside, it's not going to be close enough. And the V-Carb in P1 is pulled away 1.2 seconds. P2 and Mr. Bean 1.3. He's pulling away very, very slowly. Here we go. Justin round the outside of the Schmidt. Managed to keep it on the track. The McLaren very, very, very Nice overtake between the two of them. They're still going side by side, but he's managed to get the move. And that is a brilliant overtake for the McLaren up into P6 from P19. Pushing his way through the field, he's got a 1.3 second gap to the car in front of him. He did just look up, might manage to just about get the DRS, but the Red Bull behind him will have the DRS. Going to have to absolutely deploy here to get the DRS. He might just about get it, and I don't know if he did. I don't think he did. He did manage to get DRS. Wow. Justin doing absolutely brilliantly at the moment. He's now going to be moving up into P5, P4 actually. He still has Red Bull all over the back of him. Mr. Bean managed to catch right back up to Melwin at the moment. Back into the direct zone. 13.9 second gap. Half a pit stop, actually a safety car pit stop. Safety gap for the front three runners at the moment. Still have the Red Bull behind him, fighting further down the field. Salvio coming just ahead of that Mercedes in P14. He's on the harder tyre now. We'll have a look at the tyre. People have pitted. Only the front five runners are still yet to pit. But everybody from P5 and below have now pitted. We'll have a look. I'm sure people are going to be pushing very, very hard now to get into those points. Of course, only the top 10 are going to be getting points. Mr. Bean now talking out the DRS again of the Z-Carb in front. Going to be interesting to see who's going to pit first between these front runners. Merke Dustin doing an absolutely brilliant race from P19. And the Aston Martin all over the back of the Red Bull. I thought the Red Bull was going to be attacking the McLaren, but actually it might be the Aston Martin attacking the Red Bull. Aston Martin is going to make a move on the McLaren also. Will he make a move here down the inside? And contact between the two. McLaren contact. Trying to cut off the Aston Martin on the outside. Contact between the two drivers. McLaren is going to be coming into the pit for Justin, but Robin into the wall. Staying out on the harder compounded tyres up into P4. And he is looking mighty, mighty quick. He's managed to come out ahead of Mr. Bean, who's in P2. The brilliant undercut from Robin up into P3. The front two runners are in a lot of danger here from when they pit. Mr. Bean in P4 at the moment. It's going to take him some time to get those tyres up into temperature. It's going to be interesting to see how this race plays out further down the field. Williams going car by side with the V-Carb. Matter of fact, he actually backed out of that. But he was just going side by side. He's having a look here down the inside of the field. He managed to make the move down the inside of turn number 7. And that's a brilliant move there from the Williams up into P10. That's a brilliant move. He's got the Alpine in front of him with the DRS heading down the back stretch. Trying to catch a couple of drivers close to one another. The V-Carb still all over the back of that Williams. Aston Martin still there. Dome in P7 now with that time penalty, which he's not going to be too happy with at all. He's now overtaken the Alpine. V-Carb still there looking in, trying to get past him round the outside. He's actually going to get the Williams overtook him too early, and the Alpine's going to retain P9. We'll have to see the front runner coming into the pit. Melwin coming out, and Florissant down to P8. Wow. Florissant down to P8. Melwin DRS train to P1. We're currently lap 13 of 25. Just over halfway of Grand Prix difference gone. Our pole sitter all the way down in P6 after contact on about lap 4. Not doing too well, but a lot of drivers are doing well. Lago in P10, and I think that is everyone has now pitted. Lock up there for the Alpine. And look at that. 8 position gain for the Aston Martin in P1 at the moment. He is going to be very vulnerable here, nevertheless, that's for sure. Kick Sauber in P2, V-Carb in P3. And I'm sure this is going to be a change for the lead. Undoubtedly. Into the leader race he goes. Justin now picked up a 3-second time penalty. Trying to have a look. William going car by car. We might be going 3 wide here into turn number 14. William hugging the outside. V-Carb hugging the inside. Who's going to be latest on the brake? Heading into turn number 14. And it is going to be the William. V-Carb going to let him go by. And this is a big direct straight. Now look at that camera angle. Just on the outside of turn 14. Watching the camera go through. As the V-Carb now manages to overtake the Aston Martin there round the outside of turn number 3 and 4. That's a very nice move there for the V-Carb, now pushing P2, P1 now. I'm sure he's going to be trying to make his way through the field. It's a DRS train from P9 down into P13. All of these drivers are going to be wanting to push to try and get into those points. And I'm sure this V-Carb is going to want to have a look down the inside of the Williams, but the Williams does lock up into turn number 6. Time penalty picked up for Fabio. And we're going to see further down the field. Mercedes in P12, chasing him down all over the back of the Alpine at the moment. He's got the pace, he's looking very, very quick. Much quicker than the Alpine. It's a shame that he does have a 3-second time penalty. I do want to head back towards the front. I don't think anyone's going to be overtaking anyone anytime soon, but McLaren all over the back of the Red Bull. Let's head back to this fight here where the Mercedes, you can see them trying to break the toe, trying to break the slipstream. Heading into turn number 14. It's been a very, very good race so far. And I'm sure it will only get better. If you're only just joining us, welcome. This is round number 1 for Las Vegas. We have a 3-way fight for the lead of the race. Mr. Bean, who qualified P2. Melvin, who qualified P3. And Robin, as a matter of fact, qualified P9. In the podium contention at the moment. Matter of fact, hopefully neither of them gets a penalty. Edstone making a move here down the inside of the Red Bull. Will he make the move? Dick, trying to be in contact between the two drivers. There might be a switchback here from the Aston Martin. Go side by side now with the McLaren round the outside of turn number 9. He's trying to still go side by side. He's managed to get the move. Dick, the McLaren is not going to give that one up. Still going side by side between the two drivers. The Aston Martin with a brilliant move there round the outside of the McLaren up into P6. And now he's going to be chasing down that Red Bull for P5, who is only 1.4 seconds behind that Mercedes in P4. Still going side by side. Now the McLaren really struggling with the kick Sauber. Florissen now up into P7. The Aston Martin now up into P5. Florissen, will he make a move here on the Red Bull? Looking much, much quicker, but he's not going to make the move. All over the back of that Red Bull at the moment. Further down the field, the Alpine gets overtaken by the Mercedes. And I'm sure Florissen looking very quick in qualifying and looking very quick in the race. Might have a look here down the inside of the Red Bull. Red Bull trying to squeeze him down the inside, locking up, trying to break quite deep, having to go wide off the track. But it's Red Bull dropping down to P8 and Florissen up into P6. Now got the Aston Martin in front of him, who's just done a brilliant move on the McLaren and looking very quick. Robin seems to now be struggling on the tyre. We are going to have a yellow flag further down the field. And let's have a look what that yellow flag is for. I'm not too sure. Nobody has retired yet. Never mind. I take it back. I don't know why I spoke. I don't know why I spoke. A lot of drivers fighting going side by side. That's a move for the Ferrari going round the outside. Big crash between the Ferrari and the McLaren. Justin and Ferrari and all both losing their front right end plate And that's a big clash between the two of them. Ferrari losing the rear end, trying to make a move here on the MSG sphere, and contact between the two into turn number 9. And it's going from bad to worse for the McLaren and Justin. And that is not going to be good for him further up the field. Driver still fighting lap 16 of 25 now. Florican, will he make a move here like he did on the Red Bull 2 laps to go? But this time, will he make a move here around the outside? Might go 3 wide into turn number 1. Florican round the outside of the Aston Martin, trying to go around the outside, and Mercedes still going 3 wide. Florican round the inside of turn number 3 and 4. Oh my goodness gracious me, Mercedes managed to keep it. Keep P4 at the moment, but they're closing that gap. DRS, of course, now enabled for Aston Martin lurking in the background. Kick Sauber trying to pick his nose down the inside of the Mercedes, but not managing to get the move done. We're right on board with the Kick Sauber, who's looking very, very quick and trying to get back into that podium contention, where the Aston Martin of Robin seems to really, really be struggling. Further down the field, let's have a look. Not many drivers close to one another. This Mercedes all over the back of Lagos for the final point position at the moment. It's going to be close, and I'm sure Lagos is not going to want to fight this one up whatsoever. Harman, P13 at the moment, chasing down the Red Bull. P13, a lot of driving on time penalty in Diane. DRS, of course, now wide enabled. Kick Sauber. You're going to see him move up into P4. Kick Sauber has deployed a lot of his battery, but that he came up into P4, chasing down a 3.4 second gap to the Aston Martin in front of them. And it's going to be a brilliant comeback drive here for the Kick Sauber, who pitted very, very late, and they've got much, much fresher tyre, trying to pull the overcut, even though everyone's already pitted. And the further way to the front of the field, VCARB still trailing behind. And look at that ERS on that VCARB, full ERS on that VCARB, and the Kick Sauber just got about 65% ERS. I'm not going to get telemetry up. I'm not going to be getting telemetry up. Aston Martin now chasing down the Kick Sauber. The Kick Sauber going to be trying to chase down the other Aston Martin further down the field. Red Bull all over the back of F95 Dome, who had a very, very shocker of a race. May I say, qualified the only drive to get into the 129. Not having a good race, however. Very, very unfortunate for him. Very, very unfortunate indeed. Engine losing a lot of time to Florican now, who I'm sure are going to be deploying and trying to pull away from the Aston Martin. He might just about do it, but he does have 2.7 second gap car to the car in front of him. He's managed to keep the Aston Martin behind him, and he is closing that gap to the other one, the Aston Martin sandwich at the moment. Red Bull all over the back of the McLaren. Further down the field, Justin and the Ferrari going to be fighting. Neither of the drivers pitting is now. Lagos picked up a 3-second time penalty. Front wing damage on these two drivers. These two drivers going side by side. And actually Lagos is going to be coming into the pit. Lap number 19 of 25. And I'm not sure if that's going to be his race over. That is going to be his race over. That is very unfortunate to see. A man who did try very, very hard. These two drivers go side by side, very close to one another. Melvin looking very eager and wanting to get past Mr. Bean at the moment. I think he has much fresher tyres, actually, only one lap. But he's all over the back of his Kick Sauber at the moment, essentially pushing him through the track. I'm not sure he's going to make a move here. Down the inside and having a look and baiting him into the move. There is a yellow flag, but it is going to be a change for the lead of the race, lap 19 of 25. Melvin into the lead of the race. Mr. Bean's not going to want to give that one up too easily. Both drivers are deploying. He did have another look down the inside. Florican is closing that gap to Robin at the moment for the final podium spot. Lap 19 of 25, 6 laps to go. And we've got a race on our hands between these two. In Diane, still trying to stick with Florition at the moment, further down the field. The Red Bull trying to chase down S-Dome for P7. He's going to get P7, nevertheless. Not having a look there down the inside. Goodman chasing down P10. Harmon also trying to chase down P10. A lot of drivers on time penalties here. Ammo got the DRS onto the McLaren in front of him, trying to get into some clean air, and having a look down the inside, having a look to see how close he is. And actually, Mr. Bean is pulling away, he's losing time to the V-carb in front of him, trying to deploy here through the second sector of turn number 10 and 11, and he's so far behind, he's actually pulled away from the DRS, meant to pull back up. Big lock up there from the V-carb, not going to help him whatsoever. Going to allow the kick tower to catch back up. As you can see, the V-carb really deploying on that ERS, trying to pull away from this kick tower. Kick tower is not going to have DRS here, but he is going to have the slipstream. Further down the field, Samu is going to have this overtake all done and wrapped up. Lap number 20 on the McLaren. McLaren not on much ERS either. Red Bull goes to the outside. McLaren tried to defend the inside, but the McLaren can only let him go. There is only so much you can do. We are now starting lap number 21 of 25. Melvin setting the fastest lap of the session on those hard. That's a brilliant lap time for the V-car, pulling away 1.92 second gap, really pushing that V-car as hard as you can. And here we are, Florition has now caught up into the podium spot. 0.7 gap, he's within the DRS. Lap 21 of 25, caught up to Robin. In Diane is lurking in the background. No mistake, Justin is now retiring to the pit. That's now 3 retirement in this race. That's very much of a shame to see, but there's only so much you can do. Dome still trying to hang into this race after getting pole position. There's only so much you can do if your race doesn't go too well. We're having a look. I've just pressed the wrong button like 4 times. Ammo. What am I doing? Sorry, I keep pressing the wrong button. Oscar GNS, I'm guessing Justin was Oscar. That is a shame, and actually, Florition does clip the wall a tiny bit there. Does clip the wall a tiny bit, but he seems to be okay. He's still chasing down at the final podium spot. 3 second gap now from Mr. B to Melvin in P1. That's a brilliant lap time for the Swedish driver. P4 though, Florition still chasing him down. Samu in P7 still chasing down Tsunami in P6. Further down the field, we got the McLaren Mercedes into turn 1 all over the back of this Red Bull. And it's going to be very close. I'm sure this Mercedes is going to want to get past this Red Bull and try and bridge that 3 second gap. It's going to be difficult for him to do in 4 lap time. Still have Florition going to have the DRS here. Florition on full battery, lap 22 or 25 for the final point, for the final spot on the podium. Hopping over the curb of turn number 12 into sector number 3. He's going to have the DRS. Samu overtaking the Mercedes further down the field to get up into P6. He's going to have the DRS here, 40th way through the field, absolutely brilliantly. And here he is to get back onto the podium. Down the inside here, he's not going to give that one up without a fight, the Aston Martin. But Florition up in a P4, Aston Martin not wanting to give that one up so easily whatsoever. The Aston Martins are together, Kit Sauber are together. Florican is going to hopefully stay and wave goodbye to the Aston Martin. Aston Martin had no battery left whatsoever in that car. Lap 23 of 25, and S95 Dome comes into the pit to retire from the session. And we're going to be seeing a big fight now to Aston Martin and these two drivers for the final point plate on lap 23. Of course, Melvin very, very nicely clear in the lead of the race. 3.8 second gap for the V car. It's driven absolutely brilliantly. May I say, the pole sitter had now just DNF'd, and that's a shame to see. And now Samu and Tsunami are still fighting side by side, well, not side by side, but still fighting on lap 23. Lap 23, Samu chasing down Tsunami for P6, P10 of Vibin and Raj, and Harman fighting for the final point position. GT10 is not going to be close enough to fight for this. These two are going to be close enough to one another. Indian is going to have the direct on his teammate here. Robin has done a brilliant race with a brilliant undercut. There's only so much you can do, and the power of the tyres really come into play. Here's his teammate now all over the back of him. Samu now trying to make a move into turn number 14 on the Mercedes for P6. And further down the field, these two I'm sure are going to be fighting. And P6, P9 actually in front of him. It's not going to help him whatsoever. We're on the penultimate lap of the race. Samu all over the back of the Mercedes here. Not much DRS on that Red Bull. I'm sure he's going to definitely want to get past P6 as quick as he can. Trying to pull away further down the field. Mercedes and Red Bull, Red Ferrari go down inside. Contact with the Mercedes. There's no longer a fight between the two of them. Harman clipping the Mercedes into turn number 1. And that's a big shame between the two. There's going to be a good fight between the two of them. Harman is going to be picking up a penalty from the steward. But that is going to be Harman in P10 out of him. They're going to be taking down P9. Provisionally going to be P10. But that is going to be a big penalty coming in for him from the steward. Samu now coming into sector 2. Going to be chasing down Tsunami once again in DN. Going to be chasing down his teammate also on the penultimate lap. Both drivers looking up and going into turn number 12. Into sector number 3 we go. Samu all over the back of that Mercedes. Look how close he is to the rear of that Mercedes. I don't know who to watch between the two of them. I am keeping an eye on both times. Red Bull not looking too much quicker than the Mercedes here down the back stretch. We've now got the DRS enabled, and as a matter of fact, Indian's not going to be close enough. Samu might not have the pace here. Heading into turn 14, Mercedes going very deep. We have now started the final lap of the session. Red Bull still all over the back of the Mercedes. He's got fully RF charge. He's got a full battery, and I'm sure he's going to be deploying as much as he can in this final lap. Melvin P1 at the moment. We're currently watching the two Aston Martins fight at the moment. One Aston Martin on full battery, the other 1.5. Indian P5 at the moment. Camo P7 at the moment. Chasing down P6. Of course, Harman chasing down the Red Bull also, but he does have a time penalty. Indian still all over the back of his teammate. Fighting. No team orders between the two of them. Red Bull all over the back of this Mercedes. Final lap of the race, of course, you can see a 5.6 second gap from Melvin in P1. The Swedish driver doing absolutely brilliantly. The Red Bull still all over the back of this Mercedes, and this Aston Martin all over the back of his teammate. Another driver has now left the session. Harman in the Ferrari all over the back of the other Red Bull. Red Bull all over the back of this Mercedes. Will he make a move in this down the inside? Will he stay for the DRS? He is going to stay for the DRS. One Aston Martin chasing down the ERS of his teammate. The other one chasing down, not the other one, Red Bull chasing down the Mercedes. Is he going to have enough pace? He's all over the back of him at the moment, as is the Aston Martin. He's going to make a move here into turn 14. Kind of been a contact between the two. Into turn 14, the two teammates are fighting. Nearly one of them's in the wall. Still going to go by time. One picked up a time penalty. And these two, the Red Bull, kind of been a contact between the Williams, Mercedes into the wall. The Red Bull up in the P6. Melvin, I'm sorry I missed your dominating victory Full P1, Mr. Bean P2, Kick Tower P2 and P3, Indian in P4, Rob Brain P5. He managed to get the overtake on his teammate into turn number 14, coming down the Las Vegas Boulevard. Samu managed to get into P6, Tsunami P7, Salvo P8, Godmick P9, and a Ferrari of Harmon and GT10 P11. Vibin Raj, unfortunate on lap 23. Contact with the Ferrari led him to drop down to P12. I'm sure he will be taking that to the steward. Driver P13, Ricky P14, and Kiran in P15. What a brilliant drive there from the Swedish driver of Melwin, qualifying in P3 and finishing a race in P1. 20 drivers took their gamble. Only one of them can be the winner, and that winner tonight is the Swedish driver, Melwin, in the V-Carb. We have a Brit, but two kick carbons, the Brit of Mr. Bean in P2, and his teammate from the Netherlands in P3, Florian. Brilliant drive actually, between the pair of them, between the three of them. That was a very, very good race. If you did miss the race, here are the standings for this race. Melvin takes victory here in Las Vegas. Round number 1, Mr. Bean on the podium auto, Kickstarter double podium. P2 and P3 with Florican. P4, Aston Martin in DN with his teammates Robin, Brian, P5, Samu in P6, Tsunami P7, Salvio P8 in the Williams, Goodmick Dolly in the Red Bull P9, Harmon P10, GT10 in P11, Raj P12, and there's a lot of other drivers who did not finish this Grand Prix. If you did enjoy this race, thank you for joining us tonight. That is me. Good night, and I'll see you next week in a bit. Good night.